What's good, y'all? Back again, another day. And today, what we're talking about is branding. But before we get started on that, of course, make sure that you like this video and all the other videos if you check them out. Be sure to leave a comment if you find value in what's being talked about today. Make sure that you share so we can get this across the air, and make sure that you leave a comment. I think I said that already. Oh well, whatever. Right now, like I said, we're talking about branding today. So with that being said, let's go ahead on and get it in. You know, branding is very important, and a lot of people don't realize it, but everything that you do pretty much creates your personal brand. We're not even talking about a business right now. We're just talking about the person that you are, the human being that you are. You have a brand, and your brand is basically what people think about you and how they treat you. So the reactions and the emotions that you get from people, that's based on your brand. If you have a lot of people that love you and they only say good things about you, that's because you have a good brand, you have good character, and people honor and respect and value that character that you have. On the other hand, if nobody ever has anything good to say about you, or everybody that you come across ends up leaving you, or whatever the case may be, you might not have the best brand in the world, and you might want to look at how you're treating people or what you need to do differently in order to change your brand or your character. You know, your brand, man, like I said, is pretty much your character in a nutshell. And that bleeds over into business. When you have a sustainable and reputable business, 9 times out of 10, your business has become a brand. Or if your business is just successful because of the service that you provide, then you need to start making sure that you're working on building a brand. What I love about Palmetto Properties is the fact that everything was tied into the brand. Even if it was a contract, that Palmetto Properties logo was on their t-shirts, hats, jackets, everything, because they understood the importance of branding and why you need to have a brand. And the brand isn't just necessarily a logo. A logo has a part to do with it because it symbolizes what you represent. But it also consists of the way that you do business. People understood that when they were working with Bob Palmetto, they came and plugged into our system, and we did things the Bob Palmetto way, according to the Bob Palmetto property standards. And a lot of people were satisfied with that, and they believed in it. And we got a lot of business just off of the strength of the fact that it was a reputable brand. It wasn't just, some people running around doing business in the real estate space. No, it was people that are a part of a system that play particular roles within that system, but it is a system, and that system is the company's brand and it stands behind it. We had testimonials talking about how much they valued the service that was provided by the company. Attorneys that loved working with us because we got so much done and we made their job so much easier. Paralegals loved everything, right down to the minor details. Title search, we had everything. Social security cards, people asked for driver's license. The attorneys, of course, we had all of that laid out in a packet for the attorney and the paralegal. So all they essentially had to do was pull up the information that we gave them, look it up, and then boom, we can move straight into closing. And that's what you want to do in anything, whether it's dealing with your significant other or dealing with family members. You want to make sure that you always try to leave a pleasant experience with them to the best of your ability. Now, are you going to be able to make everybody happy? No. Apple, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest brand in the world, doesn't satisfy everybody. If that was the case, there would be no Samsung, there would be no Huawei, there would be no other cell phone companies, there would be no other music companies. But the thing is, they do the best that they can to satisfy the people that buy into their brand and believe in the Apple system. And so that's why you see your Apples, your McDonald's, your Burger Kings, all of these bigger brands. These are the ones that stand the test of time. Coca-Cola, man, it's been around for 100 years, and it doesn't look like it's going out of business anytime soon because they've taken that time and they've created that brand and they built it and they protected it and they made it something that when you think of America, 9 times out of 10, if you name 10 American things, of the modern generation, Coca-Cola will probably be one of them. And that's because of the brand that they've built. And so, what you want to do in your life is make sure that you're creating a brand for yourself. And it doesn't just stop with, your social media presence or everything. Yes, your social media is a major part of how you brand yourself, because the thing about social media is you can control what you post, you can control what people see. So, you can create your own brand based off of what you want people to know about you. Also, the information is right there. People see it and they think, for example, me, I have a lot of hats. I don't wear hats because I'm ashamed of my hair. Like, I don't care. I just go with the flow. That's what nature gave me. But, when I had hair, I was still wearing hats because I love fitteds. Fitteds were just the thing for me. And fitteds are probably the reason that I'm bald, to be honest, because I was researching it. Not that I really cared, but I just found out that, hats have something to do with it. But that's a part of my brand. Now my brand is being bald. Before, when I had waves, my brand was I had waves. Now I don't have waves, but I'm bald and I rock my baldy proudly, or I throw in a fitted because it complements the outfit, or I just feel like I look cool in my hat because it's my brand. It's how I represent myself. It's how I present myself to people. Hats. It's a thing. I have collections and collections and collections. So you have to figure out, and like I said, with social media, you can control your brand. You ever ran into somebody that you met on social media, but you haven't met on person, and they're in person rather, and they're totally different from what you expected them to be on social media? That's because they're not really living the life, or they're not really the person that they promote themselves to be on social media. So you definitely want to try to make sure that your brand is authentic and consistent, because a lot of people will get disappointed, or you'll lose a lot of people when you're not authentic with what you're talking about. Me, anytime I'm giving advice, I'm always letting people know I'm not perfect. Most of the times I can give you advice is because I did the opposite and I learned the hard way. Me telling people all the time not to be so emotional, that's because I've been completely emotional, and I blew up so many situations. I blew up so many things that I didn't have to, because I was extremely emotional. So that's on brand for me. I know that I can be an emotional person, and I know where it comes from, and I know that I'm working on it. So it's not out of character for if somebody sees me and I doggone blow up or overreact over a situation. I'm consistent with my brand. It's something that I'm working on, and it's something that I'm practicing and building my discipline. But it's not going to be a huge shocker. You always want to make sure that you maintain your brand by being consistent and truthful. I don't really hide things when I make these videos. Sometimes it makes me uncomfortable because I'm talking about things that I don't, it's, well, people gonna find out anyway. So it's like either I can control my brand and tell you, or somebody might get mad one day and they might try to tarnish me, or you might have a hater one day that's gonna try to dig up old information on me and try to use it against me. Too late. I already did it. You can't beat me to it. I did it. It happened. I owned it. We moving forward. And that's the thing. That's a part of your brand. My brand is just being honest and having integrity. Any advice that I give is either because I did it and it worked, or I did it and it didn't work and I'm telling you not to do it. And even with that, it might be something different for you. It might work out for you and it didn't work out for me. Maybe being emotional is what'll get you everything that you want in life. It didn't work for me, so I'm not going to tell you to do it. But if it works for you and it makes you happy, go for it. But anyways, your brand, getting back on topic, your brand is what makes you stand out. It's what separates you. It's the difference between Coca-Cola and Pepsi. It's the difference between buying Tylenol or the generic brand, the CVS brand of cough medicine. It's the difference between a Honda and a Mercedes. And even within those, people look at Hondas as they're bad cars, or they're cheap cars, but people know that Hondas have the reputation of being sturdy cars, reliable cars that last long over time. And Mercedes, while they're known for being luxurious cars, they're known for being expensive. So you have to have there's a certain representation for each of these companies that provides what most people are looking for. So if you look at a lot of celebrities, well, celebrities probably not, but if you look at people with money that aren't celebrities and they don't have to be on brand, a lot of them drive Hondas and Toyotas. Yeah, they have fancy cars and they have nice cars, But I bet you 9 times out of 10 they have a Honda or a Toyota because those things stand the test of time and they understand the value of these cars. And that might be their everyday car that they ride around with. If they want to keep a low profile, that's what they ride around with. And then when they want to they pull out their Mercedes or their flashy car. So all of that ties into branding and what's on a particular brand. Um, I was doing some studying this week and I was watching a video, and it was from a guy Simon Sinek. If you ever heard of him, he had like one of the most viewed TED talks of all times, and he said people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And that was like some really, really, really profound game. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. If you think about your favorite podcaster, if you think about your favorite YouTuber, you don't really care about what they're saying. You care about what established them, what credentials they have, or what they've done that attracts you to them. Most people, even down to music, a lot of people like certain artists because those artists are talking about things that they can relate to. They identify with that brand that the artist promotes, and that's what they subscribe to. And that's how you end up with a lot of people again that once they meet their favorite celebrity, they're disappointed because that person isn't how they thought they would be or how they branded themselves to be, which is again why it's so important to be congruent. If you say you're going to be one way, or if you say you behave one way, or you act a certain way, you need to make sure that you're consistent with that, because if it's not, you're going to surprise people. They're going to be disappointed. They're going to be upset. So, however you present yourself, that's how you need to be, and that's how you have to maintain it at all times if you're perceptive enough. A lot of people, they have a brand and they don't even understand the brand that they have because they're not self aware. And this is why a lot of guys don't get the women that they want, because in their head they think that they're cool, or they think that they're on point and whatnot, but the ladies are looking at him like, oh no, he's a dweeb. Like, you can be very, very delusional. So it's very important that you see how you see yourself, but you also see how other people see you. And I know society says you shouldn't care what other people think, and what other people don't think doesn't matter. But if that was the case, let's just be honest here. If that was the case, that it didn't matter what other people thought, then everybody in the world would be happy. You wouldn't have depressed people. You wouldn't have weird people. You wouldn't have people that go and shoot up schools because they have low self esteem or because they gave up on life. These people care about what other people think, and it matters. This goes all the way back to cave people and when society and civilization was first coming into fruition. If you were the weird person in the group, 9 times out of 10 the group left you, or they killed you, or they kicked you out of the group because you didn't fit into the group. And I'm not saying that peer pressure should dominate your life, but understand, if you don't care what people think, you just have to be willing to deal with the consequences that come with it. So, am I telling you to just try to go out there and make every single person happy? No, not at all. That's terrible advice. Don't do that either. But what I'm telling you is you need to understand how you come off to other people. So, for example, I know lately I've been pushing myself and I've been changing myself to be a lot more straightforward and forthcoming with people. And by doing that, I understand that I can come off as abrasive or offensive, especially if I'm talking about something that I'm passionate about. And then I look back and it's like, oh man, if I hurt your feelings, my bad. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I was just trying to convey a message that I was passionate about. Or this is something that I felt strongly about, but I didn't mean to hurt your feelings in the process of saying that or doing that. This is just how I feel. So you have to make sure that you understand, or even not how I feel. This is just what it is. This is what it looks like. This is what makes sense based off of what I see. This is my experience with this thing. And when you do that, sometimes depending on the person that you're talking to, they may be offended by what you're saying because it's coming off as abrasive, even if you don't mean it to be. And if you do that often enough, nobody's going to want to talk to you because they feel like you're just this mean, evil person. And you're sitting here thinking, oh, yeah, man, I just tell people how I feel all the time. I say what's on my mind. And then you look up and you wonder why you don't have no friends. So like I said, you shouldn't really care about what people think as far as in decisions that you make. But you always have to understand that whatever decision you make is going to have consequences. And if you're dealing with other people, it's going to affect how they view you. So you always want to keep that in mind and think about the message that you're saying. And it's something that I'm still working on. Like I said, I have a situation right now where I was in a debate with somebody and I ended up being offensive, and that wasn't my intentions. So you always have to be careful with how not only you say your message, but you make sure you care about how that person receives the message. If that person matters to you, if they don't matter, it is what it is. You know, you just whatever, however the ripple effects come back, you just deal with that. But if it's somebody that you value and you're intentionally not trying to hurt their feelings, then you want to make sure that you take the time and explain it to them why you came to this decision, why you feel this way, and what it is. Because remember, people don't buy what you do; they buy why you do it. People might not like what you say, but if you can get them to understand why you're saying what you're saying, 9 times out of 10, they'll be able to respect it. They may not like it, but they'll be able to respect it. So what I wanted to do to kind of wind it down was just give some tips on creating a brand. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of studying about this, building and creating and maintaining a brand, because eventually I am going to be making this a brand and everything is going to be branded out, but we'll get down there later. Right now, it's just fun. So make sure that when you have a brand, you're providing an immense amount of value. So in business, you have what's called value creation, and value creation is simply providing a service that makes the customer happy. It provides value. And value is relative. You can't really put a definition on what a value is to a certain person. For, let's just use the topic of women. If you're a man and you're providing value to a woman, for some women, it might be money. The only way that you can provide value to that woman is if you give her money, if you take her on trips, if you buy her a car, if you pay all her bills. That's the only way that you can provide value to that woman in particular. But you have other women who you can provide value to by giving them information that can change their lives. Some women don't need money, or they're not fixated on money, or they don't care about money. They want to know how they can be the best possible version of themselves, or how you can help them deal with that boss that's getting on their nerves, or how you can help her deal with her friends that are getting on her nerves. So value is relative to that particular person that you're dealing with. And ladies, for guys, some guys want a woman that's gonna cook and clean and do the dishes and be a traditional woman. Some guys want a sister soldier, aggressive female that's loud and basically being their mama. So it basically value depends on what that person in particular wants. How does that translate into business? Think about an iPhone. An iPhone, every time they come out with new features that provide value to the customer that the other one didn't based on the new technology. So when the iPhone first came out, it had a camera. It wasn't the best camera in the world. You could play music on it if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you could have played music on it, and you could talk on it, and you could text on it. But the layout and the design was different from any other phones that we saw at the time. It was pretty much 100% touchscreen. All you had was the home button for the most part. And that provided value to people. And then it upgraded. Instead of one camera, eventually you got the two cameras. Instead of just sending regular text messages, you had iMessage. Instead of iMessage, then you could send the little bubbles and all the GIFs and the whole nine. So value is always going to be relative to what that person or what that consumer or what that client is looking for. For me, my audience, they come to my channel because they want to hear advice, um, or they want to hear stories about me personally, which I try to give both. And they want to hear about real estate. They want to hear about business. This is a business oriented channel. So people come over here and they already know what the brand is either going to talk about self motivation, it's going to talk about business, or it's going to talk about real estate. That's the value that I apply to my audience. If you listen to my channel and you apply what I say, then you can be successful. I know for a fact because it's worked for me. Now, granted, there's been times where it didn't work for me, but if it didn't work for me, it's because I wasn't sticking to what I'm preaching. So anytime I deviate or anytime I get off track, things go wrong. And I know, okay, it's time for me to get back focused because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. The system isn't broken. I'm the one that's not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's what you got to understand. If it's a system and that system is in place and that system stops working, then what you need to do first is make sure that you're doing everything in the system that you're supposed to be doing. Because if the system is built correctly, it's going to continue to have the repeated results. If you take a car and you get in it, you open the door, you put your keys in the ignition, and you turn the ignition, the motor should come on every single time. If you get in a car and you don't have your keys, the motor's not going to cut on because you don't have the keys. Doesn't mean that anything's wrong with the car. It just means that you didn't do what you were supposed to do. So a lot of the mistakes that I've made, I've been getting in the car without the keys and trying to go somewhere, but I left the keys in the crib, so now I'm stuck. Now, you do have some instances where the system breaks down. So you get in the car, you turn your keys, and the motor sputters. But then with that, even that is a part of the system. So you understand what's wrong with the system. Is it the battery? Is it the alternator? Is it the starter? First you weigh out the tiny options. Maybe it's the battery. If the lights aren't cutting on and it's clicking, then it's the battery. So let me buy a new battery, put it in, boom, motor starts, we good to go. Okay, just bought a new battery, it's not working. Let me get them to check out the alternator to see if that's what it is. Put in a new alternator. The alternator works. Boom, we rolling. The alternator's not working. Oh man, maybe it might be something a little bigger. Let's check the starter just to be sure. Check the starter. The starter works, you up and rolling. The starter doesn't work, maybe it's the motor, maybe it's the transmission. But either way, in any case, it's always ways that you can check and balance the system to find out what's going on. You can run a diagnostic. You look at your life right now and see if you're not getting the results that you're getting, start with yourself. Look and see what you're not doing. If you're subscribing to a system or if you believe in a certain way, then you should be seeing expected results. If you're not seeing those results, then maybe you're not doing what you need to be doing in the system, and the system's fine. But if the system's not fine, then you need to go through the system, look at each piece, and if it is a system, then it will have pieces that you can look and explore and find out what part is broken in this system, what part isn't working in this system. Since we're talking about brands, once again, Apple. If a million people stop buying Apple iPhones, the Apple is gonna go back and look and see, is it a marketing problem? Is it a branding problem? Have we under delivered? Have we not worked on our expectations? Have we served an inferior product? Um, is the product effective? Is there a better product out there in the market? What's going on? Why are people not buying our iPhones as we projected them to do? And then they'll go through their system and they'll look and see what's working. They'll look and see what's not working. They'll pinpoint that issue and then they'll focus on that. When you have a brand, you can do that. If you just have a business or you just have a hustle and you just running around, you're not going to be able to pinpoint and identify what's wrong because you don't know. You're just doing the same thing over and over. So another example, I was selling oils, a brand I had called Master Sense. And what I do is I go to barbershops with a handful of oils, see if anybody wanted to buy it. And it may sound funny, you might laugh, but let me tell you, it's been weekends where I brought home $4,000 or $5,000 selling oils in barbershops, door to door, boom, like that. I had Coy with me, and we'll just go run and gun. $500 weekend, $1,000 weekend, $3,000 weekend. It was one time when I was about to get evicted, and I'm gonna get back to Brandon. I'm telling you, I'm just flowing right now. But I was about to get evicted the first time, and my mentor. This is how I first got into the business. My mentor was like, "You know what? Let's go." He took me to a car dealership. I'm like, man, I'm about to get evicted. Why is this fool taking me to a car dealership? I don't want to look at no cars right now. But he planted to see the vision and thinking ahead, not where you are, but where you're going. Then he gave me the oils, told me what to do, how to do it, what to say. Mind you, I at that point I wasn't really good at public speaking. I did a couple public speaking gigs back in the day, but as far as just getting in front of people and selling a product, so he taught me what to do, what to say, and then I think back that first weekend I ended up making like $800. I didn't get evicted. Door to door, not door to, yeah, door to door, barbershop to barbershop, walking. Hey, my name is so and so. This is what I do. This is what I have. Very high quality, whatnot. Selling it. Boom. I even had some ex girlfriends at the time. They would get in the car and they just watch me work and see me do it. I'll go. I'll be low one day, come back with bread and be good. It's like, yeah, this was it. So I said all of that to say, when you have a brand, when you have a product, and people really enjoy the oils, because I wasn't just selling them. I wasn't just a random dude walking in. Hey man, I got some oils. Y'all want to buy it? No, it was Curtis from Master Sense. I made sure that I spoke to all of the barbers. I spoke to all of the customers, whether they bought or not. I let them know that I wasn't just a guy walking around selling oils. I was Curtis selling Master Sense. And once I heard somebody say, "You got any Master Sense?" I got them because I knew that they believed in the brand. They didn't care about me. They didn't care about what I had on. They didn't care about Koi. They didn't care about whatever the case was. All they cared about was the fact that Master Sense was a high quality brand with a reputable product. So you always want to make sure in your brand that it is high quality and it is reputable. Or if you have a low quality brand, you make sure that you promote the fact that it's low quality. Think about most of the things. You have the Great Value brand at Walmart. They don't promote it as being the superior items. If you buy Great Value toilet paper, they're not telling you that it's the best toilet paper. No, that's Scott. That's the other toilet paper brands. But if you go to Great Value, you know that you're getting a great deal at a great price. That's what you want. So whatever your brand is, make sure that you promote that. On a personal note, whatever characteristics that you have that make you stand out from other people in your same sex, that's what you want to use. So if you're a smart person, then you want to promote the fact that you're smart to women that value smarts. See, it all comes full circle. So you provide value to the people that want what you have to offer. If you are a nerd, then you want to talk to women that like nerds. And with social media, if you look and see, there's a whole lot of bad women that like nerds. There's no reason for you, if you know about hyperspace and astrophysics and whatnot, for you to be trying to talk to, for lack of better terms, Instagram thought. What y'all gonna talk about? Yeah, she looks good, but y'all have nothing in common. She's gonna bring you down, or you're gonna bring her down, or y'all just not even gonna work because y'all don't mesh. But instead, if you like astrophysics and you find a bad woman on Instagram that likes astrophysics, and y'all sit up there and talk about astrophysics all day, boom. If you like fitness, you don't want to be talking to that chick with the big ass that don't plan on doing anything, and she just want to sit around and cook all day, not healthy food. Y'all gonna clash all the time because y'all are different. You want to talk to somebody that has the same beliefs as you, the same ideas as you. Everything doesn't have to be 100%. That's not what I'm saying. But if y'all have common interests, that knocks a lot of things out. You don't have to explain or teach her a lot of things because she's already on the same wavelength as you. And that's the same thing that you want to do with your brand. So if you have a brand that appeals to astrophysics, there's no reason for you to be trying to talk to people that aren't into astrophysics. You need to find as many people that are interested in what you have to offer, and then you bring value to those people. You bring value to the people that want what you have to offer. And that, in essence, is value creation. Value capture is how you take the value that you're creating and you make a profit off of it. So, for the astrophysicist guy, his value capture would be talking to the woman that's into astrophysics and they do what they do. That's value captured because he captured the value. He provided the value and then he reaped the benefits of his value. That's value capture. That's what businesses do. That's how you have Coca-Cola t-shirts, Coca-Cola headphones, Coca-Cola socks. You have Coca-Cola partnerships with Supreme or Coca-Cola partnerships with McDonald's because they built their brand and they've been able to make a profit off of selling auxiliary items to people that believe in their brand. Look at Elon Musk and how he has the Tesla tequila. That's value captured because people like the brand of Tesla. They may not be able to get a Tesla, but they can buy some Tesla tequila and be just as happy. Or if you've ever been to a Tesla dealership, you know that they have Tesla hoodies, they have Tesla t-shirts, they have Tesla hats. That's value captured because they've created the value in their brand, and you as a consumer believe so much in that brand that you want to spend your money on something that's not related to that main product just so you could be in with the crowd and support that brand. People attach it to their self identity. That's a big thing. People defend your brand as if it's theirs. If you try to convince somebody with an iPhone to get an Android, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna get mad at you because that Apple product isn't just an iPhone. It's a piece of them. I have an iPhone. My iPhone is a piece of me. I hate to say it and I hate to admit it, but we're all branded. We all believe in brands to a certain degree. If not, then you just walk around. You do have some people that don't believe in brands whatsoever. And even that, by definition, is a brand. If you don't believe in a brand and you're one of these brandless people, it's still a label, you know. But that's another topic. I'm not going to get into that discussion. But what you have to do with your brand is you have to create value. You have to find out how you can capture that value and make money off of the value that you're creating and providing. A lot of people on YouTube, they don't know how to monetize themselves. They live purely off of the YouTube income, but they don't know how to create t-shirts. They don't know how to write a book. They don't know how to create merchandise and make money off of that. Because if YouTube decides to shut down tomorrow, a lot of them will be out of luck because they depend on YouTube, but they don't understand how to brand themselves within that YouTube and make money off of that. And you have a lot of the successful YouTubers I noticed are doing that. Doing that, they make T-shirts and they make merch and they have their fans buy that stuff. And that's just further proof of how branding and how important branding is and how it works. Another thing I wanted to touch on is even though you're branding, what you want to do is assume formlessness, which is the 48th law of power, I believe. So you never want to put yourself in a box to where you're stuck only on one thing. So if you notice, Coca-Cola, they did Coke, but when I was writing a paper, and if you notice Coca-Cola, they're involved in so many other things outside of Coke. They have different brands within the Coca-Cola conglomerate. So I want to say Tropicana, it's either Coke or Pepsi. But anyways, a lot of these brands they're invested in other things that don't have anything to do with their main thing. So you definitely want to make sure that you never put yourself in a box to where you can only appeal to one thing. If you look at again Apple. Apple was a computer company. Remember, Apple started off with computers. Then from computers, I think the next big thing for them was the iPhone. Then from the iPhone, you had the earpods, and then you had Apple getting invested. I think Google would be a much better example, or Amazon. If you look at Google, you have Google Drive, you have Google basically doing Microsoft Office Suite. Everything that Microsoft Office has, you can use Google for. You have Google Mail, and Google was just a search engine. Now you have the Google everything basically. Amazon, you got Alexa, you got the Fire Stick, you got the Kindle. Jeff Bezos is trying to go into space now. So what I'm saying, I say that to say, once you build a brand and you establish a brand, if you have other things that you enjoy and you find value in, you would definitely want to work on those as well and expand that and not just limit yourself to one thing. Make sure that you don't go against the brand that you've created. Apple still makes computers. They still have the Mac. They still have the MacBooks. They still have the iPhone. They still have the AirPod. So they've never got rid of what worked for them and what got them started. They just expanded into other things. while all maintaining the same identity of that brand, even under different wheelhouses. So you definitely want to make sure that you do that. And then, of course, like I said to begin with social media these days, you can become whoever you want to be. Just make sure that whoever you decide you want to be, you be that person fully and you bleed that person inside and out. These days with social media, it's impossible to fake it for long. One day, like I said, I always say, one day somebody's gonna go dig up some dirt on me and try to find some old stuff that I did, some things that I may not be proud of, which is why I always try to beat them to it. I don't hide things from my audience. And it's even crazy for me to say that I have an audience, but people listen and people value this content. They value this information because I am providing value. So when the time comes for somebody to try to take away that value that I'm creating and that I'm bringing for people, it is what it is. I've been in front of it. It's on brand for me to say, hey, yeah, I did that. I'm not proud of it. I'm not that person anymore because 9 times out of 10, I'm not. I'm always focusing on learning, on changing and growing, and that's a part of my brand. So, with your brand, whoever you decide to be or whatever you decide you want to brand your business out to be, make sure that you're willing to invest totally into that brand and be 100% in that brand. Believe in that brand. Like I said, with By Palmetto, the contracts had By Palmetto on it. Every single thing that we did, that we touched, that By Palmetto logo was on it because we believed in that brand and we wanted people to understand that brand and we wanted people to invest and believe in that brand as well. And we were willing to do that so much to the point that we felt that that logo and that stamp of approval needed to be on every single document that By Palmetto came into contact with. Even if you sent over a contract, we were going to take that contract and we were going to send you back a By Palmetto contract just so you understood what our brand is and what we represent and what we do and the service that we provide and the value that we provide. All right. So that's it for this one. Um, we'll be back. I'm working on getting it done every day, posting videos. My biggest thing right now is just scheduling, trying to figure out how I can get everything in a day. I folded on the 75 hard. I do have my water downstairs. I'm about to knock out my gallon, but starting over again December 1st, and this time we just gonna go through from December 1st to January, February, to the second week of February. If you're interested in the 75 hard and you want to participate and you want to get down with me, now's the time because starting Tuesday, it's lockdown mode and we getting it in 10 pages every day, exercising twice a day. Like I said, my biggest thing is just working out the schedule and making it happen so I don't have to keep starting over, getting it right. So, like I said, if you're interested in the 75 hard and you want to do it with your boy, let me know. We can get it in, knock it out. All right, hold it down.